time I'm going to be covering the industrial fan's closed loop alternating control using timers. So over here we have our three fans, so which we will indicate by these lamps over here, that operate in an alternating sequence. So the process is very simple. Once you press the start button, the first fan starts running. 5 seconds later, the second starts running, and the first one stops. 5 seconds later, the third starts running, the second one stops, and 5 seconds later, the first starts running, and the third one stops. And this goes on and on until we hit the stop button. So for this concept, we will be using 3 timers today, and I will start. So yeah, let's jump in. So in order to start it, I'm going to start with very basic of how I control a fan itself by using a normally open contact. And I'll drag the address of the start button right here, and I'll rename this to be start. I want this to control my fan, so I'll have a output loop, output control, or just output, and I'll use the address of the fan to fan 1 right here. So I'll rename this to be fan 1. You know what? Yeah. And now I want to have a stops button right there, so I'll have another normally open contact and drag my stop button, rename this to be stopped. I want a locking contact, so I'll import a rung over here, drag the start button inside, drag another normally open contact, and drag the fan in here so it starts latching. So now, once we have the first fan running, we want to start a timer for 5 seconds. So for that, I will import a timer, which we're going to be using timer on delay, so TON, and I will drag that. And as for the input of the timer itself, we will be using the fan 1 signal. So for that, I'll drag a normally open contact in here, and I'll drag the address of fan 1. So after my fan 1 is on, my timer starts, and I'm going to quickly have this address to be T4:1. So this is my T1 timer, and I want to run it for 5 seconds. So I'll have my preset number to be 50, and we have our end bit, and we have our done bit. So we will be using this done bit to start the second fan. So for that, we will have our normally open contact and an output code. So our normally open contact is going to be the done bit of this fan right here. So we will put the address T4:1 D1, and I'm just going to set this to be T1. All right, and then I will have my lamp, my second fan, which is this one right here, and I'll drag the address and rename it to be fan 2. So because once our fan 1 stops, our input stops and our timer resets. So we want a latching contact for fan 2 so that the fan 2 continues to run even though the timer has reset. So I will import a rung over there so to create a latching contact. And I'll drag another normally open contact, and I'll drag the address of fan 2. So this creates a latching contact. Even if my timer resets, my fan 2 will still keep on running. Now, once my fan 2 runs, I want my fan 1 to stop running. So for that reason, I want an inverse of whatever is happening. So for that reason, I will be using a normally closed contact right here, and I'll drag the address of fan 2. So this will cut off the power supply to fan 1. So as soon as fan 2 starts running, fan 1 stops running. And after fan 2 runs, I'm going to want another timer to go on. So for that reason, I will import another timer, ton, right here. And my input is going to be fan 2 because I want the fan 2 to start the timer. And I will set this address to be T4:2. And I will set the preset to be 50 because I want 5 seconds of delay time. And the same thing with here. Again, I want to use the stun bit to start my third fan. So I will drag a normally open contact right here, and I will set this to be T4 to done bit, which means it's the done bit of the second timer. And I'll just rename this to be T2, stands for timer 2. And I'll have an output code right here, and I will turn on my the third fan. So I will, oh, no! There you go, fan 3. So I just set it to be normal contact. I could potentially use a latching contact, but I just wanted to use rungs, I guess. Um, so I'm just going to drag that in there, and I'll have another normally open contact, and I'll drag the address of fan 3 right here. Alright, so like we had earlier, once the fan 3 starts, I want fan 2 to stop working. That's why I'm going to have an inverse relation. So I'm going to drag normally close contact right here. That will cut off my power to fan 2 as soon as my fan 3 energizes. So I'll drag the address of fan 3 right here. And once again, after fan 3 starts, I want to again run the timer. So I'll drag in normally open contact. I will have my timer. I'll drag, this will be my input for the third timer. And this timer would be T4 colon 3. This is my third timer. And my preset number is going to be 50, or aka 5 seconds. So after my timer goes off, I want to, oh, I actually don't need this wrong. I actually don't need that wrong. Yay! So after my timers is done counting, I will use this DN to start my fan 1 again. So for that reason, I will have another rung right here. So I'm going to drag a rung over here, and I'll drag that. So this is the another way for the power to go to. So it's either starting the button, or the fan is already running, or the timer, the third timer, is done counting. So I will have another input right here, and I will put the address of the third timer, T43 slash, and we want the done bit, so DN. And I'll just rename this to be T3. Okay, so once that the third timer goes off, it will start the first fan. Now, before or after it starts the first fan, we also want to stop the third fan. So, like I said earlier, I'll have a normally close contact, and I'll drag the address of the first fan right here. Alright, so that should start the alternating pattern where the first fan goes on for 5 seconds, it stops, the second fan starts running, and so on. So the only thing that we're missing is implementing the stop button. So we want the stop button to basically stop any of these fans. So for that reason, we will have a normally open contact for fan 2 and 3. So I'll drag a stop button for fan 2 and fan 3. And I'll just drag the stop button over here. Alright, this is what my ladder logic looks like. And let's see it in action. I'll download the code and run it. So as you can see, we'll press the start button, and as you can see, fan 1 starts running, and it starts the timer right here. Timer goes off, fan 2 starts running, and turns off the fan 1 and starts the timer, and fan 3 starts running. Oh, I missed it, but you can see this alternating pattern. And if I want, I can press the stop button at any given point to stop my program. So when it's at fan 1, or when it's at fan 2, I can stop it, or when it is also at fan 3. This stop button works for all of these three fans. And there you go. That's the closed loop industrial fans exercise. Thank you.